Hi, I'm truly excited to be here with you today at Citrix Converge. My name is Meerah Rajavel. I'm the CIO of Citrix. Today, I want to share with you a little bit about how Citrix is using its own technologies to improve our own employee experience. For me, personally, there's one thing COVID has taught. Work is no longer a place. I'm pretty sure you all can relate to it in the last 18, 20 months, how we have accomplished what we need to accomplish for the business. That brings me to the definition of what is truly work. Work is a measure of outcome and accomplishment. As I said, not a place. And it is also the flexible work means we are allowing people to be more productive when they match their environment to the outcomes they need to produce. To me, I'm reading this slide literally. Why is it so important? It's really an insightful thing that for all of us as leaders, not just technology leaders, that we have come to the realization we need to empower our employees. We need to provide our employees with capabilities that they can choose and they can match the outcome to what the environment and what kind of devices and what kind of technology capabilities they need. And that really brings me to really framework when we think about how is that going to look like. You have people, device, and location, right? I mean, people are working with their devices from a certain place, but the content and the work that they need to do is either living in the data center, or it's living in the cloud, or it's living in a branch office, or it is a SaaS company like a Salesforce or Workday. And it really comes down, the crux of the things is, how do you take these two entities, the people, device, location, and match to what the content they need to work that can reside in any of this on the left side of my or right side of my slide, and really bringing that frictionless experience and providing that total choice. In other words, any user, any device, any location, any applications, any cloud, we should be able to provide this without forgetting the security. So, feels easy. Yeah, it should be. But when you think about it from a technology professionalist point of view or an IT professional point of view, it's not that easy. The reason it's not that easy is we are not dealing with a green field. Most of us are dealing with things that has been designed in a certain way, and you can see that being highlighted multiple times when we did a survey. Today, on an average, for anyone to complete their task, they are dealing with 35 plus applications. In fact, during COVID, this probably has gone up further. It's also clear that for completing a single workflow, many times they need to context switch across at least four different applications. And roughly people are spending 20% of their time searching for the data. And this is one thing I can personally relate to, because you have so many places you're storing data and you have multiple context switching. And anytime you need an information, you're looking at multiple places to really derive that data to make insight out of what we want to accomplish. So in reality, the vision that I painted for you a minute ago is not matching to what I'm telling here, how today people are doing their work. And that's why it's truly important today. Every CIO must think about employee experience. Recently, I was with the CHRO and we are having a conversation, and the notion of consumerization of IT has been there for a while. I mean, you all know that when cloud came on, it was the biggest thing. Do we really need IT? There is even conversation around, do we need IT because it's now consumerized. Today, with COVID, we have got consumerization of talent. Talent is the boundary has been eliminated. Most of the business are embracing people can work from any place. That means you really have started consumerization of your talent. So when you think about consumerization of the talent, it's really important, like how you're looking at people performance. At the end of the day, your people are your business. That makes it even more important. It's not a CHRO's job anymore to think about talent. It is every leader, and the CIO plays a critical role in how we deliver employee experience. And as leader, we must embrace the employee experience. So in Citrix, we look at employee experience as an intersection of three things, right? There is digital space, because we today think about it, that's where most of us spend most of our time doing our work, getting our work done. Then there's physical space, right? The physical space, we talked about any location, right? It could be your home office, it could be a coffee shop that's being used as your office, or it could be a branch office, or it could be you're in your headquarters. It doesn't matter. And the experience, regardless of where you are, it has to be transient. It has to be the same. But most important, the glue between the capabilities we deliver in digital space and physical space is the culture of the company itself, right? As a company, what is the culture and how you are setting up guidelines, how you are setting up empowerment for your employees, your managers, your partners, because many times we think about only our employees because we live in an ecosystem. Even our partner ecosystem matters the most here as well. So when you look at the employee experience, it's the culmination of those three, and it's an intersection point of those three elements really dictate your employee experience. So let's talk about a little bit how we have approached as Citrix that employee experience, because digital space is something today as a CIO, I have a greater responsibility to deliver a better experience for our employees, which actually contributes a lot to our employee experience. So in Citrix, part of my job is to be a lighthouse customer. And we know that Citrix is in the business of employee experience, and it needs to work in the ecosystem of rest of the things that we play. So when you think about Citrix, you can see, as I spoke before, you have people, devices, and location, and then you have the content, the applications or your files or your, whatever the content that you need to work with residing in the different places like data center, cloud, SaaS, etc. And if you look at the Citrix portfolio or the set of solutions we offer, that really brings the bridging between those two entities, because that's actually the bridging that creates that frictionless experience. And you can see on the left-hand side, you have the work experience, which is actually, seamless of regardless where it is. The workspace can provide the consistent experience regardless of device agnostic, regardless of location agnostic. And also, we know a lot of times people just don't want to be. You may want to go native. Then you go for a secure SaaS access through your secure browser type of a situation, right? So additional browsers. So you have the choice to be in the bubble, or you have a choice to go native, but still it is being secured and still it is being protected from a data point of view. Then you have actually the middle section, which actually provides you a complete environment and also additional productivity things like, through AI and bots intelligence through a Microapp, or it could be from really ensuring your endpoint is protected with managing the endpoint through the way we are managing for across the devices, whether it's your mobile devices or it's your laptop, etc. Then on the right-hand side, the rightmost point is where the connectivity elements are, right? You really need to make sure we are having our applications delivered with a greater performance, and we really need to make sure our application that we are delivering is in a secure fashion. The connectivity is secure, not only it's performing, but it's also secure, and it is seamless as well, right? So when you kind of think that in IT, we looked at it from the 4 C's of location irrelevance, right? For me, as a person, to be productive, first of all, I should be able to connect, right? Connectivity is the first thing. Once I connect, I need to have access to the content. Nobody works today by themselves. Once I have access to the content, could be a simple file, the content could be a full-on application, the content could be a web page, doesn't matter. Once I have access to my content, as I said, nobody works by themselves. You need to work with everyone else, which is actually through a video audio conference, or it could be through collaboration, through share file type of a situation where you're doing file collaboration. Collaboration becomes super important. But all these three things, connectivity, content, and collaboration, gets sealed and cemented by the culture. We talked about the 3 concentric circles, and you can see even in the digital space, the culture plays a huge role in how we are offering our capabilities. So when you kind of take this notion and look at how we have leveraged our own technologies, and you can see a little automator that kind of talks about where we are with our maturity. we heavily use when it comes to connectivity, using our SD-WAN technologies as a way to really have direct to cloud connectivity, as well as the seamless experience with the high performance that we can assure through our SD-WAN and our ADC capabilities. And they become a critical anchor on today how we are delivering connectivity in a seamless fashion. Whether you're in the office, you're at home, or you're in a coffee shop, your experience on connecting to Citrix is pretty much the same. Once you connect, you can have your full-on environment provisioned to you through a virtual desktop and a virtual application. Or if you're a user who says, hey, I don't want to have a virtual desktop, but I wanted to work on my own device, but in a secure fashion, then you have the ability to work through your workspace, which doesn't need to be a full-on desktop, or you can even go native with your secure browsers to access the SaaS applications. And once we get into that, we also make sure that this actually works in cohesion with all the other collaboration tools, right? So you have our collaboration tools like Workplace Intelligence, where we have microapps that can allow you to, automate workflows, or you can do your file shares through Citrix files, and of course, secure email is another way to ensure that you have your communication layer managed through a secure container. But we also make sure collaboration is not just Citrix technologies. It could be your Teams environment. It could be your conference, broadcast environment. All of this is available in a way from the single click that you can do. Last but not least, this is the cultural piece. Cultural piece is not technology. However, when it comes to culture, we do focus on measuring how our culture is sticking. So things around what is our employee performance, what's working well. So we use our employee experience analytics to see where the experience is good, where the experiences need further improvement, where the utilization of our capabilities are heavily yielding results, and where it's probably not getting used, or where people are having friction in their experience. All of that is continuously watched through our CAS, which is our Citrix Analytics Services, that actually provide performance analytics, both from employee experience and from our system resources point of view. So it's kind of really making sure that technology and the people side come together and meet together. I do want to take a minute and share with you a little bit of our story about how we have done the microapps. And you probably all are familiar with Citrix Workspace, and the intelligence piece is an area that we talked about from workplace productivity point of view. And we also talked about context switching, right? So we wanted to avoid people context switching, which means when you're in the workspace, if you need to file for a PTO, you want to do it one click. You don't need to get out of the workspace, go to Workday and file for your PTO. Or you're actually, today, most of our return to office is actually managed through microapps, which are actually when you walk into the office, you get certified saying, today I'm feeling healthy, and that's actually what gives you access into the office. And if you wanted to book, we are in flexible seating, this comes back to your digital space and physical space coming together. So the physical space is now much more flexible than what it used to be. The digital space complements it by saying, okay, you're in this part of the building, and these are the available seating areas. What do you want to book? You can book in advance, and it also tells which areas are shut down for safety, which areas are open for safety, right? So to me, today we have over 80 micro apps available, and we're seeing an average of 150,000 transactions happening through those micro apps, which otherwise would have been, people would have been going to multiple applications and doing context switching, which we are avoiding completely. And roughly, we are tracking about 4,500 plus hours of average saving time. How we are tracking, for example, if someone needs to go into Workday, log into Workday, go to the PTO application request versus a one-click that they can do from Workspace, it's actually a matter of a couple of minutes saving, right? So we just take that and look at the transactions. And when you look at an average, again, I do have numbers which are much higher end, but on an average, we are seeing a significant adoption of some of these micro apps, and especially the workflows that are very frequently used. So we talked about how we are working today, but where is employee experience going, right? At Citrix, we always look ahead, not 1 year, 2 year, but as a company, because we really care about work. And we recently did a survey of Work 2035. And this is really looking at, and in fact, in my opinion, a little bit of a dreaming out or envisioning what is 10, 15 years from now is going to look like. Embracing the future of work, what is it going to look like? Of course, there's no surprise here, right? When you talk about, 10, 15 years out, today, there are few technologies that are greatly influencing every industry, obviously AI and ML. So we did actually see a great amount of feedback. I mean, this was actually a survey that was done with over 3,500 individuals who are from C-levels to some middle-level managers to analysts to even individuals who are employees, worker bees, individual contributors, because it's a mix of perspectives and sentiments across a wide spectrum of audience. And you can see some of the results here. 77% believe AI and machine language will speed up decision making, which is actually not a surprise because it's going to be a great influencer. Today, already you see bots are doing things that we can do repetitively in a much faster way, allowing us to do higher complicated tasks. And I'm not surprised when we talk about 77% will be, AI and machine learning speeding up decision making. We also saw that 83% of people believe technology will automate low-value tasks, which I kind of talked about. But the thing that was most interesting was 69% believe CEO will work in human-machine partnership, and there will be a chief artificial intelligence officer. I mean, that's really amazing. Think about, when we bring the best of people and mission together, what we can achieve together. So we looked at like where it is going in a 2x2, and we looked at and we asked about how are workers going to evolve and how organizations are going to evolve. So if you see the x-axis, we said on one end of the spectrum, that's on the left-hand side, the people who truly believe it's an augmentation. Machines will augment worker. We are going to be in partnership. Whereas on the right-hand side, the other extreme is machines will replace workers. The same way when you go on the y-axis, on one side, it is the organizations will be much more distributed or more decentralized, versus on the other end, it's still going to be a bit of a centralized organization. Today, if you kind of think about most of the large enterprise, it's actually a centralized working model, right? And you can see the employees believe, so I'll go from the top left and then we'll go through it. So the people in freelance frontiers believe that, it is going to be where machine will make individuals better. However, organizations will have less number of permanent employees. People will come in swarms and they work on projects and then they go back and they work on other projects. So it's much more of an outcome driven coming together. There will be smaller organization, everything else will be layered on top of it. But when you kind of think about one down below, augmented workers and centralized, this is where the business leaders think things will be still central. However, machines are going to make us superhuman across all spectrum. So this is going to be a power productivity. In other words, machines are going to come in and it's going to kick it a notch up in the next 15 years that we are going to have employees as superhumans. On the next one is the automated corporation. This is probably a little bit of the pushing the far right, in my opinion. This is actually where people believe, humans are going to be replaced by machine, and also things are going to be centrally. It's like a, factory floor. There's much more on automated corporations that's going to happen. There may be few tasks, but not everything will be, because there's still a lot more in. Personally, I don't believe automated corporation is where we are going to land. But top right, that's actually the one which is interesting, which is where employees, when we did the survey, they believe, now we are going to be in the platform plugin. What does that mean? Employees believe the machines will take over. However, the work will be distributed in such a way that, you have to be an expert. You have to be someone who brings a higher value. Otherwise, you're not going to have a job. In other words, you have to be learn new type of roles that doesn't even exist today. AI trainers, people who are actually looking at ethical point of view. There is a new set of job responsibilities that are going to come in, and that's what we will be taking over. A lot of today's tasks, what humans do, will be replaced, and then things will be decentralized, and we will be coming together to work whenever there's an outcome that needs to be produced. So in the future of work, I truly believe people and technology are going to be increasingly interconnected. If one says, hey, are we not connected? We are today dependent on technology. Think about it, that's going to be taken 10, 20 times more than what we are today, because it is the partnership that's going to make, and that's going to deliver experiences that people are going to have frictionless experience and a superhuman of increased productivity. So in short, what's the role of technology? For me, technology needs to deliver, not demand. It is really technology is an enabler, not the other way around for people. With that, I would like to wrap it up. So what I shared with you today is the role of technology and the role of CIOs and the role of IT in the future as well as in today. We kind of internalize it. Employee experience is a very critical component for every business today, with the democratization of talent and consumerization of talent. One cannot overlook this fact. And my call for action for everyone, every leader, CIOs, is really make sure how you ensure that you're talking about your customer experience, employee experiences equally or even more important, and looking at it with an aspect of the empowerment is even more critical. Thank you.